What's up, everyone? What's going on? Welcome to Club Collab. I am Max Jimenez, and I got my co-host over here, Ryan over Cash. What's up, Ryan? How you doing?
What's up, Max? I'm doing great, brother. You know how I'm doing. Doing
Good,
amazing.
man. Happy Tuesday, bro. We're on here again live,
Happy
and
Tuesday.
we have an amazing guest today. I mean, this is actually an honor for me, and I've known Anthony for quite a while now, and his story is very unique. Can relate to his story, and I can't wait till he comes on here and speak. And you guys that are watching tonight, bring your questions. Listen, this. We probably haven't. I don't think we've had anybody come on here and talk about land or deals about land, right? Mostly everybody's been talking about creative finance and in regular traditional investments, right?
Single family.
Multifamily,
Yep.
single family,
Single family.
multifamily. So I'm extremely excited to bring a different perspective tonight, and I know Anthony's doing some big things. He's been on some various podcasts now, right? Some big name podcasts, and I know he's doing the rounds and tours, and he's giving back to the community. By the way, he has a free course. Free. Remember, it's free.
Is it free?
We're gonna get. I don't know. We're gonna ask him when he comes on the show.
I
If
don't
it's
have
free
to ask him, bro.
we have to verify it because I know he posted it was free, but I think we need to verify that with him to see it was free.
I don't know.
One thing I want to say, a couple of housekeeping rules. Remember, this is a live show. So bring your questions, comments, anything that if you're running into, if you are out there prospecting, marketing, and you're running into land deals and you don't know what to do with those deals, man, tonight is the night that you want to make sure that you're on and share this with someone as well too, so that way those that need to know a little bit more about land. But before we bring on Anthony, we got a couple announcements. Ryan, you want to talk about what's going on in our what's going on in our company and what we're trying to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Growing big time. Expanding again, multiple markets as we speak right now. Team is growing. Brought on Gilbert. Shout out to Gilbert Franco. Started today with us, and I already have 2 other interviews lined up this week. Again, some great people, candidates reaching out, but we're still looking to fill other positions. So please reach out to me on Instagram. You can DM me directly there on Instagram and even call me out like the guy did today, because I didn't see it when he first applied. So don't hesitate to call me back out. That actually stuck out. So that was cool. Or there's an actual link in my link tree in my bio there. There's a link to apply directly with us there. So you could go directly to the application. If you have any questions first, you want to know a little bit more about it, feel free to reach out to me and let's connect.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Again, we are looking for some great team members to join our team. Gilbert, like Ryan said, just joined us, and there is a process, obviously, and Ryan will walk you through that process. And we're looking for great people. I know in these times it's always hard to find great people to join your team, so we're definitely looking to do that. The second thing is that our Discord, our Discord community is live. The link is in the description if you want to join the Discord. I know today it's been crazy. It's been filling up. Maybe some of you are watching this on Discord. I don't know. But it is live, and we're going to start to be more active. We're going to start doing a lot more things inside the Discord community. We want to make it really exclusive of some of the things that we're doing. But make sure that if you haven't joined this, what's that, man?
Yeah, you're gonna be giving back a lot in there, right? A lot.
Yeah. It's gonna. We can do a lot of more open stuff than in IG and stuff, because you're part of that community. It allows us to be a little more flexible with what we can share. I know today we had close to almost 50 people join in one day, so we're looking to double that and more. Right? We want to help a lot of people, and man, we're gonna give away so much in there. It's not even funny. But anyways, that's probably that's the 2 announcements that we want to make. And again, before I bring Anthony on, I want to make sure, again, share this with someone, bring your questions, and that way we can answer your questions. And without further ado, let's bring on our good friend, Anthony Pappas. What's up, Anthony?
What's going on, guys? I got some bad news, though.
Uh-oh.
You know that free course?
I don't. Yeah, what about
I had a free course, but due to the influx of people wanting it, it's still free. Come on.
But is it free though? Are you sure it's free? I want to make sure that
it's free. You can give me your money. I'm going to give it back. It's free.
That was probably the coolest
That was a good
I don't know
video, bro. By the way,
video. That was a cool scene.
yeah, if you don't follow Anthony on Instagram, I highly recommend. He's got a cool video out there. He has a course on that, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And it is free, so that's gonna be the joke throughout the show today. So cool, man. Anthony, man, I really appreciate you for being on. I know you're extremely busy. You got a lot of things going on in your business. We were talking backstage, so thank you, man, for being on. It's a pleasure to have you on, brother.
Appreciate you guys having me on. It's an honor.
Yeah, of course. So, I know we know you, right? Obviously, I know you. I've known you for a while now. But there's people, obviously, whether they're watching on this live or maybe on the replay, obviously they're like, who the heck is Anthony Pappas? You want to talk a little bit about yourself, who you are, how you got started, and we'll kind of just tailor the conversation from there. For those of people that don't know who you are, you want to tell them a little bit about your story?
Yeah, grew up relatively poor, food stamps, Section 8, that jazz. Fell into plumbing after I got in some legal troubles as an 18-year-old. That's the only place that would hire me. So did plumbing for about 12 years and said, hey, there's got to be a better life than this. Max, I think you can relate to that story.
100%.
Yeah, I said, all right, we got to get out of this, and hit up my buddy Trevor Bradley. Shout out Trevor. He was an agent with Steve at Stunning Homes. And Trevor's like, oh, you want to get into real estate? How much money you got? I'm like, I got no money. He's like, how much time do you have? I'm like, I got no time. He's like, you should check out wholesale because you're not going to get very far buying rentals with no money. That's when he introduced me to you. And then I started harassing you. And next thing you know, I'm on your team. So that snowballed pretty quick.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do remember that we connected and then you came on and stuff. And I mean, you were doing it, right? I know the big hurdle there where you were still working your full-time job. And I think you were on call at that time, correct?
Yeah, on call working. So the hours were all over the place, trying to make calls, on Saturday and Sunday. People don't really like being cold called on Sunday, but we were getting it in while we could and able to get the first deal done. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if this wholesale thing's going to work out. Wanted to go flip houses. And I was like, yeah, that's not it either.
You did, though. You flipped, I think, a property you guys bought, right? You and your wife,
Yeah.
You guys bought a property and flipped your own house. That was like your first flip, I believe.
Yeah, first flip, put 80 grand in the pocket. And I was like, all right, I got some play money. Now I can get out of the day job and give this another go. And we bought the second. We were doing live-in flips, go buy a house, fix it up, flip it, and did another one in Mesa. That did really well. And just kind of went all in on the wholesale thing again now that I could get out of the day job, because trying to do the day job in wholesale is it's a grind.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think a little bit after you left the team, with and this is something I think Ryan and I talked about, because we have two guys that are part of the team and they're part-time and stuff. So it's really hard. This business is already difficult as it is. Trying to do it part-time is just
Right.
even more difficult. And you remember Ruben when he was on our team as well.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually a insurance manager, and like you're obviously working at, and I had to tell Ruben, like, hey man, if you really want to, like, because he got his first deal and then a second deal, but it was very in between. So I said, hey, if you want to really make this business work, you have to go in all in. And so he ended up quitting his job. But definitely, it's difficult as it is. You can still do it, but if you want to do it at a high level, it's going to be tough. So then after you left with our team, you were still working your regular job, and you were doing the flips. Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, so it took about, I want to say, almost another 6 to 8 months before I felt comfortable and kind of branched out on my own and decided, hey, I feel I've got enough saved up in reserve, so if things don't work out, we can survive for a year with mortgage payments and all that good stuff. So the younger you are, with the less debt you have and the less financial responsibility, all the better time to get into wholesale, because you have less to lose. But unfortunately, I had house and cars and all the things. But
yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, because you do have to, that's what's funny to me, like zero money to get started. Like that's not real. Right? Like, yeah, it's not real. So it's like you got to have some money, whether it's gas money to do driving for dollars, whether it's money to pay for like a car rail, right, or whatever it is, right? You got to have a little skip tracing, yeah. So there's no such thing as zero money, unless you're pretty sharp. Then and you start using your network, you can definitely do that. But most people won't do that. So yeah. So I know now, obviously, where you're at now, you're going into you're moving into an area what I call considered one of the experts when it comes to land. And I don't want to go there yet. I want to walk through that transition because again, you obviously were working your full-time job. You were you came with us, and you weren't there a long time, but you learned some things, and then you went and did some flips. Where did that transition happen from wholesaling? Did you start wholesaling houses, or how did you get into the land realm?
So yeah, I partnered up with Alico Beck, and we were kind of doing some wholesale, some houses and stuff, kind of like a JV agreement while we're testing the water, seeing if it'd be a good partnership. And we were doing some houses, and one day, just getting beat up on the phones, I started clicking around on the GIS, looking at all
Okay.
this land. I'm like, why is nobody going after this? And due to my plumbing background and construction background, I knew what it took to get these vertical. So when I started having those conversations with sellers, I stood out compared to wholesalers. Like, hey, do you want to sell your lot? And when I came in, I said, hey, what utilities are there? What surveys have you done? Have you done a perk test for the septic? Have you done, a geotech for the soil? All that really made me stand out. And same when I was speaking with the buyers for the land, they knew that I knew my stuff a little more than the typical wholesaler. So when I'd come in and say, hey, seller, your number's about 20K high, and this is why, it changed the whole dynamic of the conversation.
Got it. Okay. Let me back up just a little bit, because I think you said something that might have went over people's head, which is the GSI map. What is that? What can people find on there?
So geographical information system, it's provided by all the different counties in the country. Majority of the counties, there's still some like small ones that aren't partaking, but in majority of the major cities, you can Google your county. So say Maricopa County GIS, it'll take you there, and it's a parcel search. So you can search the parcels. It'll give you their name, their mailing address, when it was last sold, zoning, and all the stuff that you need to know if you're going to be wholesaling land to do it at a high level.
Got it. That tells you basically.
So that's nice.
Yeah, no, that's I think Cash Money Mike told us about that, to use it for finding multifamily sections.
Yeah.
So that way, if you're gonna do if you're gonna go out and look at multifamily, you just narrow that set. And I looked at it. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's really good.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of information. And so
it's super confusing to me. I'm like, geez, who looks at these things all day? When I looked at it, I was like, what? Cash Money had to really show me what to look at, because that was just a bunch of colors and lines. So yeah. I wasn't too happy about it, to be honest with you.
Well, I think you have to know the zoning, right?
Yeah,
in
you
order
gotta know what you're
to,
doing with
and you
that
got to put
thing.
the zoning and understand what the zoning is and all that jazz, because if you don't, it does look like just lines and colors.
Yeah, it really does.
So then, okay, so then you were clicking around, and then what was your first deal that you got when your first land deal that you did?
So I wholesaled it was a mobile home in Apache Junction on like 1.2 acres. And it was basically a tear down. So we sold it, quote unquote, at land value. And then I realized that there was an interest for buyers to be going after this so they could drop mobiles and do that kind of thing. So I just called another lot right around the corner. They were interested, locked it up, dispoed it, and then locked up another 6 of them out in Florence. Those sold immediately. And I'm like, okay, we got some wind behind us. Let's go all in on this. And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Got it. Okay. Dang. That makes sense. It's crazy how that happens. And then did that catch your interest? Like, I think I'm going to go all in on this, or how did that transition happen to that?
Yeah, it was about a 4-month ramp up for that first year. And then the second year did 1.2 million, just all land. I think there was like a cabin in there and maybe one mobile home or something like that, but it was all land. And then this last year did 1.5, again, just all land. And it just became the bread and butter. Now there was wind at my back. It was a great market. It was a bubble. People were speculative buyers going crazy left and right. But every time I would learn something new about land, I would kind of move up to the next level. So I started with small infill lots, went into, splitting lots, subdivisions, moved from there into more of the entitlement rezoning plays and finding stuff for larger developers such as multifamily builders.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. One thing I know with what you're doing, obviously, right, is because a lot of people are like, man, like, I know there's a lot of people that buy land, but typically they either buy it on terms, or not even on terms, but they'll buy it and then they'll sell it on terms, right?
Right.
But you're wholesaling either all. Are you wholesaling all of it, or are you keeping any at all?
So I will buy some, or I'll buy some and put them on market, do like a flip. Closed on one for a 10-unit multifamily development in North Phoenix.
Okay.
So that one's going through the entitlement phase. Going to try to go vertical with that, although I did just receive a really good offer on it. So that might be letting that one go just because money's money.
Dang. So, what's the offer at? Do you mind sharing or no?
So I picked it up for $230, offers at $350. So it's, it's not super sexy. It's not the biggest deal we've done, but it's easy money.
Wonder what Cash Money Mike would say right now, on that one.
Yeah, it's 150,000 now compared to when it's billed. But I mean, obviously, you got to go through the whole process.
Yeah.
So
it's a good problem to have, Anthony. I'd love to be in that issue. I have that
That
problem too, bro.
that is a good problem to have, actually. So, when let me ask you this, and obviously Ned's got a good question here, and I want to get
Yes,
into a little
this
bit
is
on this
always a question.
because when people are looking at land, and we look at a wholesale deal, and especially on the single family residence side, and we try to take that strategy and do what Neil's asking, right? Like try to look at the land that way. But learning from you, obviously, we don't do that anymore because we learn from you what to look for, what things that we need to do, inspection periods, all that. So how do you comp land? Because I know it's a whole different animal when it comes to looking at land.
It really is, and you have to decide first what type of land you're comping, because the way you look at farmland is going to be way different than an infill lot, which is going to be different than multifamily. So the hardest part and one of the biggest struggles I see people having when they're trying to do land is they try to do all of it at once.
Mm.
I recommend starting with infill lots, cut your teeth, get some money in your pocket, and then start snowballing from there. But infill lots are easy because normally utilities are there, zoning's right, the
Yep.
city wants it developed, builders will want it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But when you start going out into the rural parts of town and trying to subdivide and bring a well on and all that, it's going to comp way differently than if you're just looking at infill. Infill is nice because all you need to do is take, right now we're kind of seeing this number come down. You look at a new built house in the area, take 10% off top right away, because for the market correction, every builder I talk to is conservatively taking 10% off because they think over the next 12 months, the market's going to pull back another 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're buying those lots for about 10 to 15% of that number. So you're already at 90% of an after built value. And then you take that to 10 to 15%, and you might sell 15 to 17. So the margins are thin compared to you're picking those up 10 to 15 and selling them for 20 to 30 during the bubble.
Yeah. So if you have if you're comping this and you have houses that are going for 100,000, you got to buy that thing at 10,000 or lower, correct?
Correct. So you're at 10,000 if it's got all utilities. But now if it doesn't have utilities, you're going to be deducting some of those prices too.
Yeah.
And so that's just things, and you need to know what your utilities cost are. The beautiful thing is it's for free as well. You type in your city that you're in, fee schedule, FEE schedule, and most cities will pull up a total list of all the stuff that you need. Like here's the water meter cost, here's the sewer cost, here's the grading cost. They have a lot of that stuff for you. Here's all those fees and permits and impact studies, all that kind of stuff will be there.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. It's a lot to look for, but again, I want to talk to you a little bit later about the big deal that you did, right, with that huge assignment fee, because I know this sounds like a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it's it is rewarding. And you're in a good position because even us that we do so much marketing, we talk to a lot of sellers. Like land's not really our primary thing, right? Like sometimes we even like pass it by, but I already talked to you. I don't want to do that anymore. We want to collaborate. So, because I think we're missing out on that. But it's very rewarding. I mean, you obviously did how much you did last year. It's amazing, man. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's amazing how much you've done in the past 2 years. And I think it comes down to one thing, which most people don't realize, right? Is being laser focused. I mean, can you talk a little bit about that? Because you held on to that and then you stayed focused on that. Did that help you to stay, hey, get away from all the shiny objects and all that?
Yeah, it's been hard, especially when everyone was making a ton of money flipping houses. I mean, I was over here like, oh, I made $10,000 on this assignment fee for land. Then you see someone rip $100K just flipping, an assignment on a house, and I'm like, maybe I am in the wrong game. And then you see a mobile and they rip 80, and you're like, what is going on here? I'm getting these little rips, but because I became that expert in that field, I was able to see opportunities where other people didn't, and then set myself up for some really large assignment fees last year.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's awesome, man. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. I always say, because you know how it is. Like something new gets presented, and it's like, oh, let me add it. And I always say you got to look at everything through the lens of, does this, when you get presented with a new opportunity or you want to go do something, the way I always tell people is you got to look at through the lenses. Does this amplify what I'm already doing, or is it going to take away from what I'm doing, right?
Right.
And if you you got to be able to answer that fast.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you have to think about it, it's probably going to take away from what you're doing.
So
yeah, for sure. Dylan says the land guy. I wonder if you know that guy, Dylan.
I might know that guy.
All right. Walter has a Tony comping land. What do you think of how I comp? I use the formula 6 to 10% of ARV recently sold properties in the area, same south lies, then wholesale at 15-20%.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I mean, everything's gonna be market specific too. Like, are these? Is it a super high demand area? Some areas, I'm buying even deeper. Some we can mark it up. Like if we're in Paradise Valley, Scottsdale, a luxury area. Obviously, those numbers come up because people are still kind of fighting over those properties. So yeah, that seems like a pretty solid number. And if it's working in your market, then yeah, keep running with it.
Got it. I think that's a very good point because even with houses, like every area specific. So, and I think you remember this. Like we don't ever tell people what repair costs are, and
Right.
we don't ever talk about what the ARV is, right?
Hmm.
So what we do is we do two things. We say, hey, listen, we'll get you out there to look at it. And then you do your due diligence, and then let us know if you can be close to the price or make us an offer. Because at the end of the day, right? Like we can't just because something costs X amount here in Phoenix doesn't mean it's going to cost, in Washington or North Carolina. And I
Right.
think it's the same thing with land, correct? When it comes to looking at it that way, especially with land, I believe it might be even more. You have to be more cautious, I'm assuming, with land.
Well, and that's the thing that a lot of people want to get into land because they deem it easier, but you actually have a lot more hurdles. So yeah, you may have easier time getting something under contract, but your buyer pool is way smaller than if you're wholesaling houses. If you're wholesaling houses, you have fix and flips, buy and holds, institutional buyers. You have people just trying to buy their forever home. You have a bigger buyer pool to sell your deals to. With land, you have developers and speculators, and maybe once in a while somebody trying to build their dream home. But all of the deals we did last year probably sold to about 8 people, just because
Oh,
they were,
jeez.
builders that constantly were buying our product and built great relations because they knew when I ran numbers that it was the way they look at it, so they're willing to move pretty quick. So that's one thing to think of when you're getting into this game is I need to find my buyers first and then go find the land. Normally with houses,
Mm.
you're like, if I get a good deal on a house, that thing's going to sell. But with
Yeah,
land,
yeah.
it can be a very different game.
Is that
That's
because
a good
of?
point.
Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
That's a good point. I never heard that before. It's good to.
You got to take
Right.
that free course.
Yeah, bro. That free course, bro.
Dang
You
it,
got a free
dude.
course. Are you
I need
sure
to
it's
get.
free, bro?
I need some free
I saw
money.
your video, bro, and it looks like you said click on the link because you got a paywall there. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there is. I just bring them in with the free. Then that's $500.
I was gonna say, I believe because of the usage, right, or whatever, that's where the big hurdles come in, and
Mhm.
that's where you have to be cautious, which is on a property, it's going to get fixed. I mean, the repair
Right.
costs might vary, but
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it's going to be used for something else. A single family is
Right.
a single family. It's not a multifamily where land comes in and it's like, well, it's zoned for this, it's zoned for that. You could only build one, you can build two. I mean, there's a lot of factors in that. Now, because of that, what are you seeing as far as and again, I know your mindset, and I know how you your self-development, all that, and I know you don't believe this a lot, but I still have to. I want to ask this: is how's the competition level when it comes to the side of land and land investment?
So it's difficult. So you not only do you have other wholesalers going at it, and then the problem I have with other wholesalers, and the reason why I created that free course was to try to help people evaluate land properly and get good offers out because the marketplace is getting corrupted with bad offers.
Yeah,
People are going off old numbers like, oh, I can lock this up for 30%. It's 100,000. I can give them 30,000 for the land. Boom, boom, and we'll sell it. And then it doesn't sell. Then the next wholesaler gives them that same thing. Then the next wholesaler, and by the time I get there, and I'm like, hey, this needs to be at 10,000. They're like, no, the last 3 guys all said 30. I'm like, but it didn't sell. Well, they just
right.
couldn't get financing because the banks looked at it and said this is a terrible deal. But so that's why I wanted to provide some free, no cost consumer information. Was like, hey, let's evaluate this right. Let's put good offers out. One, it's going to help people make more money, but it's also not going to corrupt the marketplace. But other than just investors like wholesalers calling, we have investors who have their own cold call teams calling. We have developers calling, and then
Right.
agents too. Agents promising the moon. We had one that I thought was a closed deal that Dylan and I went to on Monday that we were locking up
Right.
for 50,000, which is a super fair price for the area. And the guy called an agent the night before, and she's like, I can get you 75 to 100 guaranteed. Like, good luck.
Damn. Did you
Good
scorch
luck.
the earth on the agent, bro?
I was like, well, when it doesn't work, give me a call. But if the Fed raises rates again, I'm going to be about 35 grand. So let me know what you want to do.
So was the agent gonna
It's,
list it, or they had a buyer?
they were going to list it, and they were basing it off other markets that are sitting on market without selling at 100 grand.
Damn.
I was like, that's
You should have. I don't know if we ever shared with you the where you've heard
Jeez.
it, right? The scorching the earth with the agent. If they
yeah,
don't get an offer, when the first 2-3 weeks, if they're that confident they can sell that, and they don't
yeah.
get, you don't get an offer within the first 2 to 3 weeks, ask them, ask them if they're willing to reduce their commission by 50%. and you know, and that's we've got a couple sellers telling that, and maybe it would have worked that at that point because they had a for sure deal, right? They're gonna go
Right.
gamble because that's what it is, right? They're gonna go gamble, and just because that person has a license, they're willing to gamble with that person instead of, you know, getting that for sure deal, especially coming from someone like you, because I know that I think when you offer something, you're pretty straightforward on what can be done. So
Yeah, we'll even share the breakdown. Like I always put together a PDF of here's the profit margin because most builders I know want 30% because they're really shooting for a 20% profit margin on the deal and a 10% buffer. So I'll even break the numbers down to the seller and be like, hey, these are all the numbers. The water meter is going to cost 10 because you don't have a tap yet. So we got to dig up the road. Sewer tap's not in. That's 10 feet deep in this area. So that's 12 grand. Power's going to be 2,500 off the pole. Start walking them through all those costs. And I'm like, how can anyone pay you what you're asking? It just doesn't make sense numbers wise.
yeah, no, that's crazy, brother. Hey, let me ask you this: what has been your craziest land deal? Like, I'm not talking about like we'll talk a little bit about the large assignment, but something like you know you got into and you're like you found out you have to dig 12, 20 feet down. You got a deal like that?
Yeah, we had that, and we had one in Phoenix where the sewer was 20 feet deep.
Ooh,
yeah,
oof.
and they were going to require 2 plumbing companies to be on site because the age of the infrastructure was so old. They were almost guaranteed the sewer line was under the water line, and they were worried as soon as you excavated that, the water line was just going to collapse. So they were, so what would have been normally a pretty cheap install became, $25,000 install, and thankfully I was able to negotiate that down with the seller so that the buyer was comfortable that he'd be protected when they go to take that risk.
Damn, that's crazy. So, but when something like that's got to be dug up, you got to dig like half the street back, right, or something like that. I think I heard.
Yeah, you got to open the street huge to get down in there and do everything. You got to pay for the road to get blocked on either end and shut down, and maybe have an off-duty officer on site. It can get pretty wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. And even digging the angle of how deep that trench is has to be a certain standard. I remember doing that.
Yeah.
You got to dig. You got to put what was it called, bridges or
shoring in there? Yeah,
shoring. So, yeah, 20 feet's pretty deep, bro. I remember digging like 6 foot, 8 foot trenches. Like 20 feet's huge.
Yeah, I was
deep.
like,
you're
I was like, I thought it was this was going to be a huge deal, home run. And he's like, just talk to the city of Phoenix. I'm like, yeah. He's like, we got a 20-foot deep sewer, and I sent an email to the city of Phoenix because trust but verify. I'm like, hey, what's the sewer depth here? They're like 20 feet. All right, that's a problem.
Oh man, that's crazy, bro.
What is normal, by the way? What's normal depth?
6 to 8 is pretty common for like sewer.
For a water line, for a water line, sewer line. Water line's a little bit less depth, right? On the water line.
3 to 6 maybe. Sometimes shallower, but
yeah, for sure. But sewer's usually it's deeper. So cool. And then so let's talk about this deal, man, because I know you had a huge rip. I'll let you talk about it. Was this recently, right? Like a couple months ago, or
end of third quarter last year.
So what I want you to do is talk about it, because I know most people are like, man, well, should I get into land? Because, you're talking about $10,000 rips, and you're going through all this headache, and, you're going through all these hoops and loops, and you got to know what the, infill lots to all this stuff. But there is a rewarding factor to this when you stay focused. And I want you to break that deal down for us, how you got it, what it took, and then basically what your exit was on that for us. So those people that don't know about this is an amazing deal here. So I don't want you to think that we're just kind of talking all this negative about land. Right. Listen, Anthony the reason why he's saying this, because he wants to share with you guys that there is a lot of work in this, but there's also a reward because of all this work. So talk about that deal, Anthony, for us.
So a lot of the assignments are smaller, right? Your infill lots are going to be your base hits. They're going to keep your company running and cash positive, so that when these big opportunities like this one that I took down in Mesa, you can capitalize on this. So one, you need to build the liquidity, you need to build the knowledge, and you need to have the team in place to go after this deal. So this one was one that we assigned for $450,000. That's a $450,000 check from title to Maverick Properties on one deal. Wow. And it took $40,000 of risk to make that, but that's an ROI that I will play with every day of the week. So what it was a large 3.5 acre piece of land in Mesa, Arizona. It was a hard corner. That means the intersection where 2 major roads run. And it was zoned R43, which means 1 residential home per 43,000 square foot, or roughly an acre. So in its current zoning, you could get 3, maybe 4 houses on it.
Right.
I was looking at it. I went to the city of Mesa, got their master plan for the area, realized that they had granted some approvals to RM3, which is a medium density multifamily, which would be huge because now you just took something for one house or per acre to 16 houses per acre. So you can see the value that you create by changing it. So we actually took it. I went and got a site plan done, geotech phase 1, Alta survey, all at my own dime, all upfront risking. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So who are you competing? Like, is other people seeing what you're seeing right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there other people going after this too? Are you the only guy? Like, how does that work?
So there are multifamily builders going after this kind of stuff. They have acquisition teams, but this one scared a lot of people away because there was a storm drain easement running around the property. So on the outside of the property was a canal to run off stormwater for a nearby facility, and everyone didn't know how big the easement was. Nobody wanted to take the risk because when you're underwriting these deals, it's a lot of money out of your pocket. You got to pay for the Alta survey. That's $2,000. You got to pay for the geotech or soil report. That's going to be another $2,000. You got to pay for all the phase 1. You're another $2,000. And then you got to drop a site plan before you can go in for a pre-application meeting. And that was, $18,000. So it starts snowballing quick. And then the crazy part is the seller would only give us a 90-day look or a 90-day feasibility, also due diligence, kind of similar vernacular. And that is a very short time to get that much work done. I had to pay expedited for all of those things to get it done in time.
Yeah.
So there was an extra, I think, $6,000 for the architect, an extra $500 for this guy, an extra $500, and then I had to go get an entitlement attorney, pay them to get this rush ordered into the city of Mesa. Because normally you're taking 2 months just to get in for a pre-app. We were able to use a good entitlement attorney to force that through. So the power of finding these deals, you need to have the money to do this. And you needed to have the team in place. I had an entitlement attorney. I had an architect. I had all my engineering services because I've already done this on other lots. I had my surveyor who knew that I was reputable. All these companies also needed to know that you're going to pay the bill and that that you're worth the rush. Thankfully, I had done a bunch of business. So when I said, hey, it's me, and you know how I do business, I need this done in the next 13 days. They're like, yeah, we know.
But that's building the relationships,
awesome,
right?
Dude, that's amazing.
But they also
that's
know
what it's
that if they
about
say
right there,
here's the cost with it too, that I'm not going to try to beat them up. If they're like, hey, it's gonna be this extra $6,000 for the rush for this architect plan, I'm like, done. Whatever you say.
Nice, man.
So yeah, that was an amazing deal. So we got preliminary site plan approval, got in with the city of Mesa. I brought my builder in on early so that he could see everything going on because he's also taking some big risks because it wasn't fully rezoned. He had a 90-day look on it as well. And as soon as the city was in favor, he saw that there was a lot of positive feedback from the city. He's going to go ahead and take it all the way through the rezone. And that's why he was comfortable cutting, a $450,000 check to me because of the work that we had done up front. If he fully entitles it, could probably make $1 million to 1.6 on the exit. If he just were to sell the dirt, if he builds it, he could be, a couple million on the exit when he goes to sell that. So it was an amazing deal. Everybody won, which is rare.
Yeah.
But
right. That's crazy, brother. Hit on that little point there because there's a difference between raw land and entitled land and plotted, right? You want to talk a little bit about that because it sounds like the more you get it deeper you go into that, like the higher you can sell this. Obviously, there's higher risk as farther as you go. But talk a little bit about that, the difference between those phases.
Yeah, so initially you have your raw land, and then from raw land, it'll go entitled. From entitled, then you'll do rough graded. From rough graded, then you'll move into, with your utilities, you get your wet and dry utilities in, and then you'll have your fully finished or fully improved lots that have the roads, everything. A builder can just come build the building and be done. This one was obviously in the entitlement phase, which normally builders don't want to buy it in the entitlement phase because it still carries a lot of risk. Mm-hmm. But this builder had also worked with the city of Mesa in the past. He had done the same thing on different lots in the area. And he actually was like, I can't believe I overlooked this lot and you got it before me, which was pretty cool.
Let me ask you, just because I want to know too. I'm asking the entire. So what's happening in the entitlement phase? What's the integral parts in that phase?
So the main thing, you have to prove to the city why this is a good idea. Make sure it matches their master plan for the area. Because if you want to put high density multifamily on a corner and they want commercial,
right?
Good luck. You know what I mean? You could fight it with an attorney, but it's not a recommended fight. Normally you want to find something that isn't zoned correctly and find what the city wants there and then kind of play to their game. Because at the end of the day, they have full control. They don't care if you lose money. They even told me that. They're like, yeah, we don't care if you lose money, bro. It's not our problem.
Right. They got the taxpayers' pocket attorneys.
Yeah, 100%. And the crazy thing is, when we sent it out to like a handful of buyers, one of them tried to go around to the seller, offer him another $100,000. So he tried to cancel the contract. Yeah. Thankfully, I had a very well drafted legal document from Fowler St. Clair with memorandum in place. Another thing for newer wholesalers, pay the money to get a good attorney to review your contract.
Yeah.
If you're in a memorandum state, make sure that is in your contract so that you can record these. What that does is protect your contractual obligation and your seller's obligation to you to sell the property, and it clouds title so no one else can steal it from you. If I didn't have that in place, they would have stole the steal from me. I would have lost 40 grand and all that due diligence I had done.
Ooh, damn, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I think that's a good point on that. Good thing you brought that up because you do have to make sure you can't just go out there be clouding title just to cloud title. Like it's got to be in your contract. It's you got to make sure that some states don't actually allow that as well. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to recording memorandums. I mean, you can do it, but doesn't mean you're allowed to, right?
Right.
It doesn't mean that you need to have it in your agreement. So I know that because I know that from Sean. We learned the hard way.
Yeah, and if it's not in the contract, they can fight and say, "Hey, I didn't agree to this," and get you.
And you get fined too. Like I know in Arizona, there's a statute that you could get fined like up to $5,000 and like probation or something. I can't remember.
I remember that happened on one of our deals back in the day. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where that you caught the guy, you're like, "Hey, bro, it's not in your contract," and he got all scared.
Yeah, I actually, we had a deal that one of our acquisition guys locked up, and we'll find out there was a memorandum on it, and you see the memorandum and the contract, so you'll see both. So I told Cherie, that's what we're using. Let me take a look at the contract. Read it through. There was nothing there. Had the guy's phone number, and I called him. Yeah. Like, hey, what's going on? He's like, what's up? He's like, well, I think you and I are cross-referencing the deal. And I think you and I have an interest on the same on a deal. Here's the address. And he went off. He's like, oh, F that old man or F that man or something like that. And he's like, we're not going to release it and this and that. And I said, no problem, man. I didn't call you to just, to tell you what to do. I said, I'm just asking to show. So if you can tell me where you have in your contract, where you could say that you could record the memorandum. And he got super quiet, bro. He's like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I'm looking to see where you legally could record this memorandum. Just out of curiosity. I'm just curious. He's like, well, what do you mean? Like, what are you trying to do? He's all, and then I explained to him, I walk him through it, and and basically I helped him out, right? Yeah. I didn't come at him like, hey, dude, I'm going to come after you because it's not on it. I helped him out, walk him through it. And he's like, well, he goes, and then he asked me, do you want to work on the deal together?
No.
Right. And so anyways, we ended up getting that deal to the finish line. We paid because this acquisition guy worked really hard. We gave him a little bit of money so that way his acquisition guy can get paid. But yeah, it's very true for with the memorandums and stuff. So man, but that's amazing, bro. I love hearing that because I think there's great potential. It's just a matter of being focused, being intentional, knowing what you want and working on your craft. I think that's the big thing, right? I mean, how many hours? I mean, obviously right now we can say, man, Anthony like was born with this knowledge, right? Most people think that because they look at the end result and they fall in love with the end results. They don't look at the process and stuff. But how much time do you spend working on your craft, bro? I mean, if you can think of the hours to get to this knowledge where you're at now.
Oh, I eat, sleep, live this. This is all I do. After I get done here, I'm going to go get a lift in, and then I got another book on development that I'm going to read. Any book I can find when it comes to development, construction, land costs, I'm reading it. The 4 months that I spent kind of seeing if this is something I was going to want, I spent every night studying every page on the city's website on how to do this. You know what I mean? Jeez. This is my thing. I'm like, I came hyper focused, ignored all distractions. I haven't touched an Xbox in 4 years. I don't go to the bars. I don't go to movies. I miss birthdays. I'm probably antisocial and have lost a lot of friends and family along the way, but I know what I want. And my why is so big that all of the other noise just gets kind of blocked out because this is what I want to do. I want to wholesale land. I want to entitle land. I want to develop and I want to own multifamily. And I've got those big dreams and all the other stuff had to be removed so that I could hyper focus on that.
Dude, the intensity you just said with that, dude, the passion you had, dude, I was coming out of you, bro. Like you got me pumped up. I'm ready to run through walls right now. Like I love that. that drives me, like that makes me want to be even better. Like as a person, that's anything, like whatever I'm doing, when I hear that somebody else gets after it at the level that you do, because I'm just so competitive. I'm like, I love that. Iron sharpens iron. So I love that you just shared that. Had a little conversation with some of our team members earlier today, and it's good to hear that there is other people who are like, dude, I live, eat, breathe this. This is all there is to it. So I love being around other people like that, man.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. I mean, I always, you're either rolling, which is you're doing your what is it called, jiu-jitsu, or you're lifting weights, which I love. Always watching that, man. But I think that's a huge point to this, because a lot of people, again, they look at you, they look at us, or they look and then be like, man, you guys, how did you just land here like we did? And like, you don't see the behind the scenes and the blood, sweat, and tears, right, that you put in, like what you just said right now. And I think it's really important for people to know that even though that maybe they're in a situation, the only way to get to where you need to get to whatever situation they're in now is they got to push through, right? And working on your craft and going out and taking action is huge. It's where a lot of people fail, right? Is the action part, and you've done it, man. And so moving into the next phase of the conversation, which is now, I mean, what's it been like for you? Because, man, I can only imagine now, right? You've been on a couple of big podcasts, and you obviously have a free course, guys. It's free, and if you don't want it, he'll return your money if you want it. So, actually,
Full
before
refund.
I get in, full refund. How did I know you mentioned a little bit about the course earlier. Look who's on here right now, bro. Giving you a shout out. Hey,
what's
the
up?
legend.
What up, Zolan?
Ryan Zolan. Ryan's in the house. Yes. What's up, Brian? Hope you're doing good, buddy. Good to see you.
MLS goat right there.
Let's connect. He said he wants a refund.
Hey, his company hosts it, so you got to go to yourself for the refund, Ryan.
Yeah, bro, you hosted it, so. I know you talked a little bit about why you created the course, but you want to dive a little bit deeper into that. I want to know, like, what's the purpose behind that? Because nobody does that just to do it. Obviously, I know that you're a giving person. Just talk a little bit about that. Creating the course, what that entailed and what that went into.
Yeah, so originally I was looking at doing like a paid course, to try to give out the information I didn't have. And then I realized how much more beneficial it would have been for me when I was getting started to have something like that when it came to land. And I could not find it anywhere. There's a lot of guys doing a lot of great stuff, but I mean, there's all these paywalls. And if I can help someone get their foot in the door and get that first deal, that's a lot more rewarding to me than making a couple bucks. Like, I'm blessed to be where I'm at in life, to where I'm financially independent. I don't need the money. I mean, obviously more money is always better, but I'm in a very blessed place right now that I don't have to sell a course and really do that to survive. So I feel very great. And I was able to put something out that I really hope will help people. As cliche and cheesy as all that sounded, I'm really going to pay it forward, because there's a lot of people that are just struggling to get out of that rat race and, get into this. And I wanted to put something out like, hey, do it right. Here's the right way to do it. Let's stop corrupting the marketplace with bad offers.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm showing people how to compete with me in my own market on that course. You know what I mean? I'm like, here's what I do. Here's how I do it. This is all you have to do it as well. Yeah.
I love that, man. That's amazing. That's amazing, because it's a whole different mindset, right? And there is a such thing, and this is not to come across like, cocky or prideful, but there's such thing as execution, right? I know that obviously at the end of the day, you can provide the information, but people still got to go out and execute it. But the main thing is that you are providing that information, and you're executing at a very high level when it comes to, your craft. And that's, and I can relate to that a little bit, right? With doing the show, the Closer Lab, doing what we're doing tonight, the Discord community, because man, it feels good, right? Like I was at a couple years ago or last year, I was at an event or a meetup, and individual was speaking there, and they were like, they asked him like, how come you're not more on podcasts, giving now? It's like, basically he made an excuse, and then said, hey, the guy that hosted the meetup was like, he actually had to beg me to be on this. Like, he said that in front of the crowd, and then a guy that was in the audience said, hey, don't you have a duty for you to give back? Who did you learn from? Right. Like, so I can relate to that huge, and so can you. So now, you obviously have the course, and it is free. So remember that.
Jeez, dude.
I was gonna say, what's it been like? I mean, now that obviously you got a lot of people reaching out to you, including myself, right? We had a conversation a couple weeks ago. Are you getting more bombarded? Are people wanting to consult with you now? What's it looking like now? I know. Because I asked this because Anthony, what's gonna happen is that nobody wants to be a guru. Nobody wants to be seen as a guru. Nobody wants
Right.
to. But what happens is that you're an unofficial guru, right? I call it
Right.
guru because you're doing it. So eventually, it's going to move you into that position, and the more you fight it, it's going to be worse, right? You don't have to be full blown guru, which means that you're not doing what you say. You're obviously providing value.
Mhm.
Where are you feeling like you're being pulled to that? A lot of people are starting to want to consult with you and things like that right now. Where are you at right now? In that transition.
Yeah, the DMs have started blowing up. I know how you felt when I was bugging you back in the day. A lot of people just sending deals, just wanting to underwrite, and I try to get back to as many as I can. But yeah, at some point it becomes overwhelming where every time you open your phone, there's another 30 people asking to comp deals for them and consult here. And I still haven't figured out how to price that because there's nothing wrong with people selling courses, mentorship, any of that, because their time is valuable. You know what I mean?
100%.
And the free course, it took a little time to put together, but it wasn't that bad. Now, one-on-one consulting that's taking me out of my business to help someone grow their business, there would have to be a fee for that. I'm getting pulled away from my business. Same with someone was like, hey, can you do a more in-depth course that shows me 100% of what you do? Then there's probably going to fee on that because now I got to spend another 12 hours making a new course. So
100%.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I try to help as many people as I can, but I hope that people can understand that I still am running a business that is still constantly growing. I haven't hit my goals yet. I'm in a lot better place than I've ever been, but my goals still have to come first, and the growth of this company has to come first. So if I don't get back to you, it's not malicious. It's not with malice. It's just as douchey as it sounds, I'm just so damn busy.
No, it's true. We all see it, brother. It's true. I think and there's nothing wrong with saying those things. I've been through that transition already. I probably give more than what I have to sell. And no reason why I have what I have that people pay for is because of time, right? You can actually, everything that's on my YouTube channel, on my Discord community, like you can create everything that you can pay for, but with me, it's more structure and it's there, right? So it still equals out because the amount that's pumping out, that I'm giving away is way more than what you're getting for the price that you would pay to come, but it's more structure, right? The time invested and all that stuff. So
that's what people have to decide. Do I want to wait and try to catch all the information that comes out, or do I want to pay for it? I mean, I've bought multiple of your sales trainings.
Yeah, you have.
I want that information now. You know what I mean? It's like, I could go watch every YouTube video over the next 5 years, or I could just pay to have the information right now and have you critique me in the moment. So there's a lot of power that comes with coaching. So I don't want to disparage coaching by any means. It's gotten me where I'm at today.
100%. I always tell people that too. Like, look, if you don't have money to invest, don't do it. What I highly recommend: go watch the Closers Lab. Go, get a free like your course. Go out there if you have the time. Go through all the videos. You can create your own sales process. There's enough there to do that, but most people aren't willing to do that, right? To put in the work. So, what does your team look like right now? I know you've gone through some changes, and this year's been crazy, but. Are you looking to scale? Are you looking to scale this? I mean, where does your team look like and where you're heading right? Where are you heading right now?
Started the year, brought one. So normally I'd been doing 1099, working with like independent contractors. After some legal advice and some counseling, it looks like I need to bring people on more W-2. So I'm going to start scaling around that. So instead of kind of having like a side hustle business, whatever you want to call it, now I'm actually creating a true business with people and roles, dealing with payroll and insurance and all the benefits that go along with that. But I'm growing into a real company now compared to just like a wholesale hustle that I had before.
Got it. Okay.
And then, awesome. Congratulations too, by the way.
Thank you.
That's not an easy feat. Like that's huge.
That's
bro.
a nightmare.
Dude, you're doing all that and you're doing all this business. Like, geez, bro.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is definitely not
a problem.
You'll sleep when you're done, bro.
You're young. You're still
when that is, who knows? But you'll sleep when you're done. So how many team members do you have? What does that structure look like right now for you that that are on there?
So yeah, it's 5 right now. 3 are part-time as they kind of figure out how this is going to work with their day job.
Yep.
2 full-time W2. So it's W2 plus commission. So normally what I shoot for is, to have people hit their quarterly, W2 payout and then bonus anything after that point. So then if they do have a month or two without deals, they're not stressed that they're going to get fired because they already covered that nut for the entire month. So that's kind of how it's structured right now.
Got it.
It's like $20 an hour just for the hours they put in. And then as soon as they cover what they, cost the company for that W2, then it's all bonused out, which is everybody seems pretty stoked with the payout structure.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that because it benefits everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, company's protected, and then they get the upside, and they know as soon as they hit that number that it's all just blue skies and Wagyu after that.
Wagyu at Capitol Grill.
Yeah, you already know. Come on now.
Yeah, cool, man. No, I love everything you're doing, Anthony. It's amazing to see your growth, bro. I know, from where you started and the challenges, and I mean, it really is, man. Like, it's really crazy, and I think I think there's a lot more still to conquer, and you're heading in the right direction, which is really great. What do you? I know wholesaling. That's the one business that I always tell people. Like, in reality, is you can only scale it so much,
right?
And you can never really, you won't be able to ever sell a wholesale business. And the other thing too is that you can't really leave a wholesale business. You know that, right? That's why I always laugh when people want to tag themselves as CEOs, and then it's a wholesale business. Like, there's no. So beyond that wholesale business, what are you looking to get into? Because you got a good start with the land, right? Which can get you into development, building, all that stuff. What is it that you want to do out of all that?
So moving forward, it's already moving from a wholesale business into an entitlement development and then multifamily holding business. So that's going to be the goals moving forward. As wholesale will still continue to funnel the leads. These larger companies still have an acquisition arm. So that's going to be the acquisition arm. And then that's going to feed into, can we entitle this? Perfect. Can we entitle it, make money? Then we'll do that. Does it make more sense to develop? We'll build it. And then if we can build it and it makes sense for a long-term hold, that's what we'll do. So that'll be the 3 options that I'm focusing on for the company in the future.
Oh, man.
Nice. And then wholesale, it seems like the wholesaling, the exit side of wholesaling is because you have the entry side, right? Which is marketing and negotiations. But on the exit side of wholesaling seems to be like, that's going to be on the back end, right? After all those options.
Yeah.
That's amazing, bro.
Prefer to build everything and go that route because there is a huge demand for, affordable housing, and there's some great causes. I want to start working with some of the veterans, the assisted living for veterans and stuff like that, because there's such a big demand for those housing that isn't being met. So that's one of the goals for this year. Took almost all of last quarter to start restructuring everything, getting everything dialed in for going after that launch. So hopefully this 10 unit goes up pretty smooth if I don't sell it. If not, I already have my eye on the next parcel that we're going to.
I think you're going to sell it, bro. When you said that the fee, you had a big smile, bro.
He lit up, dude.
Dylan, close your ears, Dylan.
Yeah, he felt guilty to say it. It's all good, man.
No, but I've already got an eye on a different parcel, and that's why I'm going to probably 1031 that, because it's just crazy how fast this has gone, from figuring out how I was going to make this work and working a job and hating life to where, you can go drop 300,000 on some dirt and not worry about it. And that's not to gloat or flex or brag. It's just, I never thought I'd be here in life. And I hope that inspires someone watching you can do it if you're willing to put down the distractions, put down the noise, and focus on one thing and become an expert in that field.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Jeez, I love that.
Bro.
I love that.
That is inspiring, bro. You got me inspired.
That's hard to do. You're always up and motivated.
No, bro. I know, but still, man, to hear this at a high level, bro, you don't understand, dude. I love it. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, of course, 100%. Man. Thank you for sharing all those nuggets, bro. It's a really amazing. Again, like I said, I can't say that enough. The amazing things you're doing. It's great to see your journey, your growth. And, just looking at what else is coming, right, down the pipeline, because I think you're going to do some great things. So I really appreciate you, bro. I think, we're coming up to the hour, but thank you for sharing, all the nuggets. And if somebody wants to reach out to you, I know your DMs are getting full now. You're becoming a guru, Mr. Guru over here. Nah, just kidding, man.
The land guy.
The land guy. There we go. Let's get you a logo.
Just dirt. Let's get a piece of soil.
Get you a logo that says the land guy. Get after it.
I think Jocko trademark it after it. I'm just waiting
probably, yeah, he'll be coming after you. So you have to change it up to something that fits the land. Get the dirt.
Get the dirt.
There you go. You can. I'll send you the check later. No, just kidding. Cool, man. What we're gonna do then? I'm sorry. How can people get get in touch with you if they want to connect with you?
Absolutely. AD Pappas on Instagram, Facebook, Anthony Pappas. The YouTube channel is up at AD Pappas as well. I'm going to keep just dropping over time, basically everything that I've learned along the way. So I was going to do like a case study out of this 10 unit, but I think I found like a smaller 4 unit that would probably make more sense to do a case study on for people getting started so that they would know the ins and outs of what it's going to take to build a 4 unit. So that's something in the works. Hopefully I can get this piece of land under contract at the price I want. And if so, then I'm going to walk people through how we bought it, how the full entitlement side of it, getting everything planned, getting permits, picking contractors and that whole thing. So somebody, as soon as they're ready, they have that video series to kind of fall back on.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I love that. That's crazy.
Big things, brother. Big things,
that's
man.
Amazing. I know you're a big self-development guy, and you obviously love motivation and stuff. Well, what I want to do is we're gonna close this out. We're gonna have repeat our announcements, and then I'm gonna bring you off, and then think about something you want to leave the people with. I know you're familiar with this process, and think about something you want to leave the people with. Something motivational or something that inspires you or anything like that. So before we shut down, and I'll bring you right back. Okay, Anthony?
Sounds good.
Boom. Man, that was amazing, Ryan. Crazy.
Yeah. Dude.
Crazy stuff. Doing some
I feel like
things.
every big time, man. I mean this in a great way because I love all of our guests. I feel like everyone keeps one-upping each other with what they're doing and how they're helping people. And it's again not about they make great money, amazing money, but it's about, dude, why they're doing it, the stories they're sharing, their passion behind what they're doing.
Yeah.
And every one of these individuals, man, but just to talk about Anthony right now, look at how much he's giving back to help the community, to help other people, to help him in his industry. He is just giving back in all sorts of different levels. So crazy to see where he's going to be in the next 5 or 10 years, man.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of the things that I always, what I was a big believer in is it's always greater with a purpose, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything's always greater with a purpose. And, it's just a lot funner, right? It's just a lot of fun because if there's no purpose, you can only make so much. Money can only excite you for so long, right? Nice watches and trucks and stuff like that can only excite you for so long, but it's always greater with a purpose. So it's amazing. But damn, man, so excited. This is one that you might want to go back and rewatch again, just because, Anthony shared so much tonight, and the time went by quick, bro. We were deep into this conversation. I was like, wow, it's an hour. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to bring Anthony back, so don't leave just yet. I want him to drop some gems and a word on you. We want to make, again, an announcement. Ryan, you want to let people know how they can get a hold of us if they're interested, if they feel like they want to be part of our team. You want to let them know how they can get a hold of us, and that way we can reach out to them.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be part of the team, you want to learn more about wholesaling the business from front to back, not just one piece of it. Again, we're very hands-on. We want you to learn the business, very similar to how Anthony is. Please reach out to me on Instagram at RealRyanOvercash. Also, there is a link in my bio, Linktree, to apply directly with us. You can go straight there if you like. If you want to talk to me first, have some questions, I'd love to chat with you. But we're looking for highly self-motivated people who are looking to win, have the great energy, good energy with them, and just again looking to win and get better at real estate.
Boom! And don't forget the Closers Lab Discord community. It is on fire right now, and we're gonna do some amazing things. I might even have actually I am gonna have Anthony come on and talk to our community in there. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring Anthony back, so that way he can leave you guys with some positive affirmations and a positive word. So Anthony, the floor is
so my biggest thing that's driving me and that I always revert back to is, what are you willing to sacrifice for the life you want? Because everybody wants all the cool stuff, but most people aren't willing to sacrifice what it takes to get there. Are you willing to put down the video games, the music in the cars, the movies with the friends, the late nights out drinking and eating and doing all those fun things that we enjoy? Are you willing to give up all that so that you can have the life that you want? And that's kind of the thing that I have to constantly go back to when I start spending a little too much on stuff that I don't need. Is this getting me where I want to go? And or is it pulling back from the dreams that I'm trying to accomplish?
Boom. Thank you, brother. Amazing advice. And we'll see everyone tonight. Watch the replay. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next Tuesday. Later.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.